Hey, you guys. So I am so excited to be here with Sarah. This has been a long time in the making, like a really long time in the making. And she just has so much to share. She's such a resilient, strong woman who's been through a lot and still holding it together. Like there's still a smile on her face right now, and she's just still so positive and all of the things. Like she's cheerful and just you're just somebody that I think we can all be really inspired by and learn a lot from. So I'm just so happy to have you here. I want to start off with the whole traditional way of just asking, like you to introduce yourself, of course, and just kind of tell us, how you got to where you are now, and then we'll dive into all of the more recent things that have been coming up for you.
Okay. Well, thank you. First of all, thank you so much for having me. Yes, it's been a long time coming. We've been trying to figure it out, and I'm so glad that we're finally doing this. Um, I feel the same about you. It's so funny. Like when people introduce me like that, I'm like, really? I feel like you're a light, and like the sweet package that you sent me, like you're just so thoughtful, and so I feel the same. This feeling's mutual. Um, but I'm Sarah. I am the host of the Creating Sunshine podcast. I am a single mom to two amazing little girls. They are 11 and 7 years old. They are my everything, my whole world. And I build a community, and I have also hosted my own live event. And most recently in January, I was diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer.
Yeah. Tell us how you kind of got into creating sunshine, how all of that started, because I know you have your divorce story as well. And then I
Mm-hmm.
definitely wanna hop into everything that's more recent.
Yeah. So I would say my personal development journey really started in probably like early 2020. My husband and I separated in 2019, and 2020 started, and I had two really small girls, being a single mom, working 45 plus hours a week. And I was barely hanging on, honestly. And I was like, I need to do something because my whole entire life, I kind of always been that positive person, right? Everybody was like, oh, Sarah's always so happy and she's so positive, like no matter what's going on. And it was the same through my separation and through my divorce, but I wasn't telling anybody what was going on.
Okay.
I was like, this was a really, like, it was a mask, honestly, on the outside. And on the inside, it was like I was at internal, like, war with myself. And I was just showing everybody what I thought they wanted to see and not really bringing it up, because if I did talk about it, like I wasn't at the point that I could talk about it without like breaking down and losing it. So it was just like shove it down, shove it down. And early 2020, I was like, I can't keep doing this. Like there's got to be another way. So that kind of led me to finding podcasts personally. And once I started finding podcasts, and I went hard. Like I was binging, and I was just listening,
Yeah.
listening, listening. And there was a long time that I was just listening, but I wasn't really like implementing anything that I was hearing. I
Mm.
wasn't really like taking any action. And that probably went on for like a good like 2 years. And then like 2022 was when I attended my first event. I started meeting other women who had similar stories to me, that I just really felt like I could open up, I could relate, I felt safe, and it all kind of started to come together. And that was where in end of 2023, my podcast was born, because I started working with a mentor, and she was kind of asking me, because when I went to work with her, I was one of those people that was like, I don't know what I want, I just know I want to do
Yeah.
something. I just know I meant to do something more. I'm just. And so it was really like from ground zero with her. And she was like, okay, well, like, tell me about yourself, tell me about your journey, all these things. And so when I started telling her, and she was like, I think you should start a podcast. And I was like, what? Like, it was so like not in my like realm of possibility
Yeah.
whatsoever. And so when she said that, I was kind of like, are you kidding me? And she goes, yeah, because think about it. The reason that I started listening to podcasts is because I really liked finding people that were on the other side of what I was
Yeah.
going through, or a little bit farther ahead of what I was going through. And that really inspired me. It motivated me. It gave me hope. And so she reminded me of everything that I had been through, and the
Mhm.
fact that I could probably be that person for someone else. And so it kind of made sense, but I still, like, a couple months was like, nah. And then she was like pushing me, like, when's your launch date? When's your launch date? And so that's how Creating Sunshine was born. And the name really just came from, my whole life, that You Are My Sunshine lullaby has
Oh.
been in our family. I was saying it as a kid, my oldest daughter, it was all over her room. Like, we've just always loved it. And prior to even starting a podcast, when I was starting in the personal development, I also really found that I loved crafting, and I started making like the glitter tumblers, and
Yeah.
that turned into a whole business through COVID, like just kind of, I don't want to say by accident, but also that wasn't my
Yeah.
intention, and I was just loving stuff and creating it and posting it, and people were like, hey, can I buy that, can I buy that? And that business was actually called Create Sunshine
Oh
Shop.
my gosh.
So then Creating Sunshine podcast just kind of like followed that.
It does, like, when I see your branding and even just the name, right? It does bring this whole feeling of, like, just happiness and, like, kind of bringing
Mm-hmm.
that into your own life because you are, somebody who knows firsthand. I mean, life gives you a lot of lemons. It gives you a lot of
Mm-hmm.
challenges, but just the feeling of being able to bring in that sunshine to your life and, like, make the best of it, even though circumstances can be really hard. I find that really inspirational.
Thank you. And that's what, and me and and especially like with my daughters, we talk about it all the time, and it really is like my youngest daughter's favorite color is yellow. So it just
Oh,
works
of
out so
course.
perfectly. And we always just talk about creating sunshine, and it's not just about like the name of the podcast, but it's really about, creating that sunshine in your own life,
Yeah.
despite like all the things that are
Yeah.
happening. And so we started with like really just celebrating the good things that were happening. And then we were like, okay, well, let's create more things to celebrate. So if there wasn't a lot on the calendar for the week or the month, it's like, okay, well, now we're going to go watch a sunset tonight. Like, now we're going to plan a little weekend away or whatever. So now we just look to create our own sunshine moments. And yes, this is the most crazy, difficult thing that I've ever been through in my entire life. But when you learn to find the good in the bad, I feel like it doesn't make the bad seem so bad.
Yes. I would love to unpack it as much as you feel comfortable sharing, like, about what you've
Yeah,
been going through with breast cancer, because that was, I mean, that just came out of nowhere.
it did. I mean, and because we were in a group
Yeah.
together when it was
Yeah.
happening. And I was like, oh my God, like, what in the heck? It was, I first found the lump, I want to say it was like late last July or August. And, it was probably like the size of a grape. I was in the shower and I'm like, huh, that's weird. And so, I thought, well, I'm going to make an appointment. I'm going to go try to see the
Yeah.
doctor. And, but I didn't have a primary. My OB had retired. So when you're trying to go see somebody, especially in LA as a new patient, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like October until I got in. And during that time, like the lump was growing, but to be honest with you, like there wasn't even 1% of me that thought that it was cancer. Like
Mm.
I was just like, it's a
Yeah.
cyst. And everybody, like, and I would tell people, like, yeah, I found this lump, but I think it's a cyst, and I'm just gonna go get it
Yeah.
checked. And I really didn't think anything of it. So then you have to do like your exam, and then they schedule you for a mammogram, which is like another month, and then you have a biopsy. So all said and done, I found out at the beginning of December, my primary actually told me that I had cancer, but I hadn't had a biopsy yet. And so when he told me that, I thought that you didn't know until you got a
Yeah.
biopsy. But apparently, depending upon what the mass looks like in a mammogram and an
Mm.
ultrasound, like they can tell if it's a cancerous mass. And so that's what he told me. So then I have to wait, and like basically that was beginning of December. So then I have to wait all of December, have my biopsy, and then at the beginning of January was when my I met with the oncologist, and they told me the stage. They told me it was stage 3, which I was also shocked because I thought, oh, well, I'll probably just have surgery. They'll
Yeah.
remove it. I'll be fine. 2 weeks, good to
Yeah.
go. And when she sat me down, and the type of cancer that I have was very aggressive, so she said, we actually start with chemotherapy and then we do surgery. So currently, I've just finished chemo 2 weeks
Yay.
ago. So I'm done
So
with
exciting.
chemo. And my first surgery is actually a week from today. And then my second surgery will be June 11th. And that's the
Okay.
big one.
Okay.
That's it's the double mastectomy and the reconstructive.
It's a lot. It's so much.
It is a lot.
I just I have like no words. And for everyone listening, I mean, I've, spoken with Sarah off and on throughout this, process, like little by little. And I've watched your journey because you share so much, thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that that's got to be really hard to do and very vulnerable, but you've been sharing so much. And so it's been, I don't want to use the word inspiring because it's not like, oh, like how, excited, because this was a really obviously scary, crazy
Yeah.
thing that happened to you. But I just cannot like tell you enough. And I know I've told you a million times, but you're just so resilient. Like I think most people would crawl under a blanket and stay there for months. I mean, I don't know how I would respond. I mean, this is just,
I thought about it. I thought
yeah,
about it.
like I mean, how, like I don't even have words to describe. I mean, just what a scary moment, obviously. Like, but
Yeah.
you just have shown like, and I think it probably came from other things that you've been through and having your resilience. I don't want to speak for you, but having those things, to lean on, having those practices to come back to and just
Yeah.
being able to get through it. I would love for you to, share a little bit more about that. Like how did you tap in to like those moments of sunshine, and how did you tap into just the support that you needed to get through all of this?
Well, I think the first thing about sharing it is that I knew that the way I had dealt with things previously didn't work. That was all I knew. I was like, I know that I felt so terrible going through my separation, doing it by
Yeah.
myself. And I thought, maybe I try this, maybe I approach this from a different angle.
Mm,
Maybe I don't bottle up. Maybe I don't keep it all to
yeah.
myself. And I think the big thing too is like, honestly, it's when you have kids, because when I had to tell my daughters that I had cancer, obviously it's terrible no matter what age your kids are at, I'm sure, right? But my daughters are 11 and 7. I feel like, oh my God, to have to tell them that about their mom is like, it has to be so scary, you know? And so when I told them, I told them, I said, I'm gonna lose my hair, like I told them all the things that were gonna happen because I didn't want anything to come like as a shock to
Yeah.
them, like, geez, why didn't you let us know this? So I've been very open and very honest with them. But one of the things I told them from the beginning was, I want you guys to be comfortable in sharing with who you want to share with and tell who you want to tell. And I kind of thought, well, that would be very hypocritical of me to sit there and to tell my daughters that and to have me hide it, especially being the fact that I already had a podcast, that I was already like sharing so much on, my page about my life. Because in the beginning I was like, well, I could just post my motivational quotes and post my weekly podcast episodes and just like fly under the radar and not say
Yeah.
anything. But I knew that there was no way I could do this by myself. I knew I was going to have to accept support. And so I decided to share it. And also in the sense that, like, I don't know, I figured there's probably, obviously, I'm not the only one that's ever had breast cancer. I'm not the only one that's ever gone through it. And maybe if I start the conversation or I open up the conversation, who knows who else I can meet and who knows who else, maybe that I could impact or could impact me. And so that was kind of what led to it. And but I waited and I was like, everybody, and I'm sure like you remember, I was posting very like cryptically on my Instagram, like my quotes and things
Yeah.
like that. And people kind of started like, are you okay? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And so the people that had messaged me, like, I would tell them, and they were like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, this is crazy. And so I think it took me about a month. And then I did the post, I ripped the band-aid, and I released a podcast episode the next day. And it was just like, it's out there. It is
Yeah.
what it is. And then I'll see what happens. And I was like overwhelmed and blown away by the amount of support that came. It was just crazy. And I'm talking people that I probably hadn't even talked to. Like you have those people that follow you that you've known forever and ever, like years, right?
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, like they're messaging me, they're reaching out, and then they're sharing their stories or stories of somebody close to them. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like it was so much in the beginning. I was like, this is insane. And that obviously helped. And I remember going to my first chemo because I posted that as well. I literally screenshotted every single DM, every single text message, every single thing that was sent to me. And I have like a warrior folder
Oh,
in
I
my
love
phone.
this.
So that way, when it gets tough and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, I go back to all those messages and I'm like, yes, I can do it. I can do it. So I definitely think that that helped a lot.
I'm sure that helped a lot. That's such a cool idea to make a whole folder of, yeah,
Yeah.
I love this. And just knowing,
Yeah.
like, can you talk to us a little bit about getting past the initial resistance to asking for help, to asking for support and that kind of thing? Because I know you had that. You don't have to share, it publicly here if you don't want to, but I know you had, like, with your dad, like, wanting to step in like a little bit more than usual, and being like, oh, I don't know if I can
Yeah.
accept this help, or just
Yeah.
friends and family in general. Like, how were you able to kind of lean on that, and then how did that help you in the long run?
Well, and support is what I talk a lot about now too, because I had this like previously, especially if anybody that's listening is like a single mom, like you're totally going to get it. Or if you are like an independent woman, like whatever it is, like I had this like hyper
Mm,
independent, I could do it all by myself and I don't need anybody attitude. And I had that for years, and it was like, joining the groups and, being with the other women and really listening to what people are telling you. And I think it was, the group when we were in the group with Crystal, and I think it was Crystal like reminding us that, nobody is getting a award over here for whoever like does the most
yeah,
work or for whoever suffers the most. And it's like, so we get to the end of our days and it's like, oh yay, I did it all by myself, like there's no trophy
yeah,
for that. And once I started thinking about that, and I also went back to the same thing. Is like I know I didn't accept support before. I know I didn't accept people's help before, and that didn't serve me well. Clearly, because there was no genetic history of cancer in my family. I don't have the cancer gene. So the only thing I can assume the reason that I got this is it has to be some type of environmental
right,
factors. And I'm sure that all of the stress in my life over these past 5 years played a
yeah,
role in it. And as much as yes, I've been doing, the journaling and the meditation and the breath work and all the things, when you're still not dealing with what's going on in your life, then it's going to physically manifest itself in some way, shape, or form,
yeah.
and unfortunately, it manifested itself in me as cancer. And so when I first decided, I said, accepting support has always been really hard for
Mhm,
me. And when people would tell me, like, let me know if you need anything, and
mhm.
I would always like, no, I'm
Yeah,
good. No, don't worry about it. No, thank you. And so something in me was like, you just need to receive.
yeah,
Like, you need to just receive the help. And in the beginning, when people are saying that, it's like you don't really know what you need. And I think it's like with anything, if you have somebody close to you pass away, or you're going through a separation or whatever it is that you're going through, and it's like people are like, oh, just let me know how I can support you. And in the very beginning, you're like, I have no clue because I don't even know what I'm doing. But once time started to go on, I really was like, okay, I can tell how I'm going to be during treatment. I can tell kind of when my good days are. And so that was when I started reaching back out to those people that had previously offered me support and like, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Hey, do you have time for coffee? And I think that's when it becomes our responsibility to those people aren't going to be able to read your mind, especially if they've never been through what you're going
yeah,
through, right? So if my friends and family hadn't had cancer or been through cancer and didn't necessarily know, like, how could I expect them to read my mind? And I really was just like, let me get real and clear about what I need and what I want to do. And having this opportunity to actually slow down and to like really think about that, because I can't go all the time now. Like, I have to rest. And I think that that was the biggest part about it, is just really receiving, and if somebody does offer you something, like, just say thank you. And people, I mean, because they started sending me gift cards for like Grubhub and,
oh,
DoorDash and Uber Eats and all this stuff. And every time it's like inherently in me was, I wanted to say, like, you didn't have to do
yeah,
that. But realizing that the people in your life, like, they feel just as out of control as you do.
yeah.
So this is their way of kind of like supporting you and loving you and helping you. So you really just have to allow yourself to receive and just say thank you.
And how did that, like, not how did that feel, but, like, how did that help you after? Like, once you were able to start to receive these things, do you feel like it actually kind of lightened the load a little bit, or brought you a little bit of happiness, or brought you a little bit of just that relief in a way that you're not alone?
Oh my God, so much. Like, it definitely lightened the load,
Mhm.
because, then people, it was like on days that I wasn't feeling well, like then I, had money to
Yeah.
just get the food and, just being able to go out because I am an extrovert
Yeah.
kind of by nature. I do love being around people. I do love being social. And I've taken, a leave of absence for my work in this time. And at work, there's hundreds of people where I work, so to take that away is kind of like it's shocking. But then realizing that the people that I get to spend the time with and the people that I get to reach out to, it's like now it's all on my terms and it's people that I want to see, because I'm sure like when you work with a bunch of people, like you were just talking
Yeah.
about yesterday, maybe you don't always want to see the people that you're working with, right? But now it's like I get to pick and choose who I spend time
Yeah.
with. And it was just so nice. And even going out, like I remember walking with a friend and she was asking me like, hey, update me on all the things. And then she just started unloading on what was going on in her life. But then she's like apologizing to me,
Yeah.
like feeling like just because I have something heavy going on, she can't. And I was like, first of all, that's not what friendship is about. Like it's gonna go both ways, but it's also, allowed me to see people in like such a different light as well.
I love that so much because I think that we all feel like that, right? When somebody's going through something heavier, it's like, well, I don't want to share. I don't want to
Right.
take over the conversation. But for you, and I don't want to speak for you, but I would assume, I would imagine that you want a little bit of that normalcy too. And that's going to bring you some happiness, right? Is like having those relationships.
Yes, like let me get some
Yeah.
distraction. Like I
Give
don't
me the
want to just
gossip.
talk about this all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to chat. So because I just think of you, like creating sunshine. Like I just think of you as like this queen of like bringing the happiness. So tell me like what you have going on in your world because you have something special to help us tap into
I
these
do.
moments more often. And this is literally what I'm talking about right now on the podcast is like getting that spark back, getting our happiness.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I have been working on this for a while now. But I'm so excited. So it's called a 7-day mindset reset. And what the reason that I created it is because when I first started my personal development journey and actually implementing the things that I was listening to, I felt like I didn't really know like where to get everything. So I
Mhm.
was like I was like Googling journal
Yeah.
prompts and then I was looking for podcasts and I was kind of trying to like piece it all
Yeah.
together. So I was like, okay, so what if there's somebody, and it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's just starting their personal development journey, but maybe, because I'm also like, okay, it's the end of May, a lot of people started this time, like their New Year's resolutions kind of start just going out the window, right? Because we're mid year. And maybe you're just like, I need a reset on my
Mhm.
mindset. And I know that I'm not in a good headspace all the time. Like, how do I do that? So basically, what I've done is I have a different topic for every single day of the week that we're going to focus on. And you're going to get a little like 3 to 5 minute, like think of it like a personalized podcast from me, right? And so it's literally going to take you less than 15 minutes a day. And you're going to listen to the podcast. And then there's going to follow up with journal prompts related to today's topic. And then, so 10 to 15 minutes, and all you need is just an open heart, an open mind, and a journal.
Yes.
And at the end of the 7 days, like I'm also going to give you tools throughout, so that you can stay consistent. But it's a really good, like, either a reset or a jumping off point for people. And I'm really, really proud of it. I'm really proud to put it out there. And it's only $27.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, that's less than you going out to eat at lunch.
Yeah. Oh, that's so, so good. I mean, that's like really less than going out to lunch. My God, it's so expensive right
Right.
now.
And I just wanted to make it like, honestly, I wanted to make it like a no-brainer for people. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like you're not even going to think twice about that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, $27? Yeah, I can do
Yeah.
it. Like you literally have nothing to
Yeah.
lose.
And making it accessible so that people can kind of check back in. I feel like,
Yeah.
when we go through there's just a lot of craziness happening in the world, in general right now. And then we all have our personal stuff. And so it's like, as you're going through things, I feel like that's one of the first things to go is like that daily check in with ourselves and,
Yep.
our own practices. I mean, how many days, just like today, I started having meetings early in the morning. And so I worked last night. So I got to bed like at 1. So it's like, right, you're rolling
Hmm.
out of bed, you're just hitting all these things. You're so busy, right?
Yeah.
You're just getting that calendar and that to-do list done, but how often are we really like slowing down, checking in? Yeah, it's so important.
Right. Well, and I think that some things like like you and I, we've been doing this for a few years,
Yeah.
like we can catch ourselves probably like midday, you're going to catch yourself and go, you know what, I know I need to go for a
Yeah.
walk, or I know I need to go get some sunshine, or I know. But when people don't have those tools like consistently in place, like they don't have that to just go to, and that could probably literally like spiral their whole entire day out of control.
Yes.
And so sometimes I need to stop and remind myself that, like, to me these things become second nature. And that's another part of it that I believe has helped me so much, is because I already had these tools in place before I was diagnosed. And
Yes.
I already, and that's why I was, talking about it on my stories yesterday. Like, please don't wait until you have something difficult or challenging happening in your life to try to like find your personal development tools. Like, it's okay if that's what is happening right now and you need to do that. I'm not saying don't find them, but if you feel like you're in a good place and you're like, no, I'm good because like life is good right now, like it is only going to help you not only help your life continue to feel good, but then when challenging things do come up,
Yep.
you're just so much better equipped to deal
Yeah.
with them.
Exactly, because it's just in there, it's like that muscle memory, it's like you have it, you know what you're
Yeah.
doing. I always say that, like, in the sisterhood, I always talk about that, how just, like, we're doing these things when the crisis isn't happening, so that then when the big things are happening, like, it's just so much it's that muscle memory, like, we're right there, we know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so important to practice all of these tools in the times that, it's easy to do it, you don't think you need it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it gives us that memory. I would love to just like, if there's anything else, that you want to say or anything else you want to share, or just like a little nugget to like, if you have one more like go to practice or something like that for just that happiness spark, because yeah, I just see it every time I see you. I'm just like, I see the yellow, I see the heart, I see the sunshine. I'm like, this is
Oh,
the
you're
girl.
so
Like,
sweet.
and you've just been through so much. And just again, like to reiterate for the millionth time, like for you, you've been through a lot and you still have that spark. And I think that that's just, it's special. It's awesome.
Thank you. Well, I think the thing that I try to remind people all the time is that, like, you have so much more control than you think.
Mhm.
So maybe you can't control the situation. Obviously, like I can't control the fact that I got
Yeah.
cancer, but you can control like how you respond, how you react, how you show up. And sometimes I take the things like, for example, I shaved my head when my hair started
Yeah.
falling out. And that was me controlling the situation. That was me controlling when and how I lost my hair. And so the overview is like the big thing you might not be able to control. You might not be able to control like the loss of your job, or the passing of a loved one, or whatever it is. But there's little things in there that you can control. And the more control that I take back, and the more things that I realize, like, I control how I feel today, I control how I show up, I control this, it it makes me feel a little bit more in control of like an
Mhm.
uncontrollable situation.
Mhm. Yeah. And that can bring us back. I think that so often, I love what you're saying, because I think that so often we hear from people like, just, let go of what you can't control, like, let go of everything, like, don't worry. But I love how
Right.
you're being very realistic. Like, no, there are some things that we can control. So, like,
Yeah.
why not dig into that?
Well, and not all of us are that type of personality,
Yeah.
like to just be like, I'm just gonna be like, universe, give it to
Yeah.
me. Like, let's be real.
Like,
No,
sometimes we
it's
want a
not gonna
little
happen
control,
that
and that
way.
does, like, bring that sense of, like, normalcy in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you can just
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. I can't thank you enough for coming on. Can you let us know, like, where to find you? I know we already shouted out the podcast, but let's shout it out one more time and, tell
Yes.
us everything.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram, Sarah_Arvizu. That's where I spend most of my time. Also, the Creating Sunshine podcast. I have my email list as well, and I do love to do free resources. I love to do free downloads. I have a Sunshine Moments download that I personally print at the end of every month. So just helping you celebrate your sunshine moments from the month, and also like what you're looking forward to the next month. So I like to just create free things and try to help other people, create their own sunshine in their lives
Can
too.
we get that sunshine download right on your Instagram, or can we, like, DM you or something?
Yeah, you can join as
Just
soon as you
sunshine
join my
moment?
email list. It's going to come
Oh, okay,
straight to you.
cool. Yeah, we have to do that because that's a good one.
Yeah.
I was with you. Like I saw the process of that getting created, and I know how good that is.
I know, and like all talking about it, and now it's actually like everything's like
I'm
coming to
telling you, that's
life.
like these resources that she's talking about are like golden. Like I know them. So they are very good. Well, I cannot say
Thank
thank
you.
you enough. Like thank you so much for coming on and just sharing, all of your story with us and also just helping us to, remember that we can find our sunshine moments along the way.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for having me. I love chatting with
Right?
you.
Thank you.